Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we smash apart the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute chunks so we can analyze them in scrupulous detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Road to Infinity podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco, and I can sleep almost anywhere.
Okay.
There was one time when I was in college, I think I was going home or I was on a trip somewhere, and I fell asleep on the plane. And then I wake up, and we're in the air. Ooh. And the woman next to me, she looks at me, I wake up, and she goes, How did you sleep through all that? And I went, what are you talking about? We're in the air. She's like, no. We aborted takeoff. We then had to circle around in the airport, and then we took off again. And you slept through it all.
Wow, and that was natural? You don't take
No, it was totally natural. I just was out, right?
To calm on the plane.
And so I always just laugh at that, thinking what would have happened? What if I had slept through an emergency landing, right?
Yeah.
What happens if you do that? Where you get on a plane and you're going someplace, then you wake up and you're not there.
I say from the perspective of the people who work on the plane, you're probably the perfect
Oh, yeah,
guest
because I'm not panicking.
Right, you're in your seat, quiet,
exactly,
strapped in.
Yep.
Right, you're not causing anything. You're not asking questions. You're just.
No.
I also have the same ability. At one point I said I think it's my mutant power because in my household I've become hated and feared because of it. They hate it. Anywhere we are, I'm like, oh, we're gonna be for 20 minutes. All right. Lights out, and I just I could just shut down.
Now the dirty secret of this is that it's clearly a result of sleep deprivation.
Yes, it absolutely. It picked it up in college when I was getting almost no sleep at all, and I was working at a projectionist at a movie theater, and so I would have a half-hour break. Well, but this is what it is. So I learned not only to. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, in the I'd say we'll get to the Hulk stuff, but this is.
We're gonna get there. No,
this
this is clearly is tied to this minute.
Yes. So inside a projector booth from this era, now They're all digital, so it's just the computer homes. But it was basically a factory because the platters are spinning all the time. When you have multiple ones in the same room, when you're down on the floor, you think oh, theater one's next to theater two. Well, yes, there's nothing blocking the booth, so all the projectors are just standing next to each other, all running at the same time, pumping out heat, machine going. You have to oil all this kind of thing. It's loud, is what it is. So I not only taught myself to sleep sitting next to a projector, so basically almost like a lawnmower running next to your head, that I could sleep next to it, but also that I could train myself to power down and power back up in 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Because that's how much time I had, and I needed the sleep because of sleep deprivation. So I'm like, okay, and shut down. And I would, and then pop.
See,
right
now we
back
have
up.
our Apple Watches where we just set a timer and then it buzzes our wrist.
But yes, I know.
So what does this have to do with minute 30 of The Incredible Hulk?
That's right. In Louis Leterrier's 2008 Incredible Hulk, we have Bruce Banner waking up next to a waterfall in some strange locale. He has no idea where he is.
Not in the place that he probably last remembers.
His last memory then was probably getting beat up in the bottling plant.
Yes.
I would say probably from the time that his eyes went green. Then Bruce goes to sleep, and the Hulk wakes up, and the Hulk is in control from there on out.
And maybe just because of the trauma from it, maybe when they take his bag, my bag,
yeah,
right?
right.
Maybe the last thing he remembers is my computer,
yeah.
all of
I don't
my
have my stuff, yeah,
and the dog.
Right. He
didn't think about the dog.
No, it wasn't that last thing on his mind.
No.
I think later on in the MCU we find that he's only lightly aware of what the Hulk has done.
Right.
It doesn't come back to him. But most of the time he is essentially asleep for the time that the Hulk is in control.
Right.
At least at this point, it's full on back and forth. As I was watching this, I was thinking this is kind of like falling off the wagon for him. I mean,
yes.
not for anything. He did everything he could to resist
right.
it. So
right.
he's trying to avoid the pills or the sauce
right.
or whatever it was.
Right.
But now here it is. The addiction, whatever the beast inside him
right.
has taken hold, and now he wakes up with no money. Now all of his stuff is gone, and he has no idea where he is, and he knows, I now have to reset the clock.
And
I have to turn in my 30-day chip.
And not to go in a dark space because you're listening to this, obviously.
Well, sure, but I think that there's some undertones here of addiction.
Oh, no,
and,
the undertones of this is so related to, like you just said, addiction, all the different things, the darkness, whatever your demons are, right?
Yeah.
What happens when you've given in or you've lost and you know that, right? You failed.
His inner demon comes out.
Oh, this is it's heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
Because everything that happens in this minute in just 60 seconds.
Yeah. Because
yes,
even here, so here Bruce is starting at absolute zero. He has nothing. So the title card pops up on the screen, Days Without Incident 1. So it's now I'm under the assumption, and you, I don't know if we even talked about this at all, but my thought was that this is Days Without Incident 1, which is basically Bruce Banner Day 1.
Right.
Like whatever had happened before the Hulk, I think took more than a day.
Yes. Oh, no, he's been asleep. He's been asleep
for a couple of days while Hulk was
well,
out,
at least 24 hours.
At least 24 hours, if not more. I think it's more.
Sure.
Because when we talk about like how far he has come, I don't know that can be done in a day. But let's get on.
But we've got him
as chronologically as the minute goes on.
So we've got him waking up, and the one thing I think they do, not only does he just emote this in his face, Ed Norton does as the character, but he's his pants are no longer pants; they're rags.
Yeah, right.
And he's like struggling to keep them up. Now
that's right.
Here's one thing I love about this: he's in the jungle. Mm-hmm. There's nobody there.
Right.
The idea of humility, the idea of shame, the idea that I can't just stand here naked. No, it's an incredibly human trait.
Right.
So this is immediately, like, just as terms of a direction of, okay, what's going to happen when he wakes up, immediately, visually, it helps you connect to his humanity.
Yeah, true. I mean, he's, because you feel, you can't help but feel for him that
exactly.
He has nothing. He has like not only no idea where he is, but like no.
He's got nothing.
He's got nothing.
Zero.
Literally nothing. I mean,
he has a pair of pants. He's just now, of course, he's just on the other side of the hill in Brazil, right? Because
that's what he's assuming. He's like, oh, I don't know how far. I mean, like, well, I know I'm in the jungle, but there's lots of jungle in Brazil, so I should be fine.
Oh, no.
So as he comes to me out, he sees there's a road nearby, which again, I don't think it's an accident. I mean, I think the Hulk went as far as he could go and then went, yeah, this looks good. Sure. And next to a road, he probably was following a road, because Hulk doesn't have any type of, radar sense or anything that tells him like which direction is which. Probably
he
just
can
following
see.
the sun.
He knows.
Right?
This,
yeah,
right.
Exactly. So then he's set down here, and then a vehicle comes up. So this is actually a Volkswagen Combi. This is sometimes known as the Type 2. So I guess in doing his research about this, I found out that they're called different things based on how they're built.
Oh.
So like they're all Type 2, but if it could be a transporter or a combi or a microbus or a camper or even they said in Portugal it's the Pão de Forma, which is called it translates to loaf of bread.
What?
They're different styles of like what it is, if it's designed for passengers or cargo or whatever.
Calling a microbus a loaf of bread is brilliant,
right? I mean, you look at it and go, yeah, okay, I can see exactly.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Well, and this makes sense too. You'd say, if you look at this and you went, well, why would you not use a truck or something like that?
Oh, well, they're the mileage. I mean, like they're incredibly efficient.
They're incredibly efficient. They're compatible with the other cars that are on the road, meaning parts and knowledge of how to repair them is plentiful. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense.
Right. So we see one of these, and this is very common in South. I mean, even at this time, and even now, these vehicles are still up and running because they're so easy to maintain. So the vehicle pulls up, and Bruce runs up and says, "Can you help me?" in Portuguese to the driver, and the driver says, I don't speak Portuguese.
Oh, snap.
So it's like, there's probably the one phrase he knows in Portuguese, which is, I don't speak Portuguese, like, no habla español, like, no habla Portuguese. And so Bruce is super confused by this, and then says, okay, so that's Spanish? So he tries Spanish, and pretty good Spanish, too. Sure. So this is where am I? And then the man says, Guatemala. So he's gone from Rio de Janeiro all the way to Guatemala. Mm-hmm.
And if you're not a student of geography,
then we're here for you.
Right. This is why you're listening to this.
That's right.
Well, okay, Guatemala.
Well, sure, it's all south of the border stuff.
Yeah. Okay, here's the deal. So Brazil is look at a map and you can think about this. South America, Brazil is on the right side, basically a big, huge chunk of South America. Guatemala borders Mexico. It's on the southern end of Mexico. And it's bordered by El Salvador, Honduras, and Belize. Mm-hmm. But here's the deal. The distance between the middle of Brazil and the middle of Guatemala is around 3,336 miles.
Right.
What is it? Now, when I put this in and I was like, okay, how big is that?
Yeah.
That is the equivalent distance between London and New York City.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the Hulk was cruising. So there's a lot of math behind this stuff too, and I started digging in. I'm like, okay, so like, what would it be? How fast would he be traveling? How far can the Hulk jump? And I can tell you that That is a pit that doesn't end. Like the amount of like people online, like nerds versus scientists versus like who are debating about like what the Hulk's jump distance is, what his land speed is.
How many jumps did it take?
Because they said like in one of the things someone said like he can jump 3 miles in one jump, like 3 miles in a minute or something. And someone says, that's breaking the speed of sound. So is he doing like sonic booms every time he jumps? I mean, so like I just reading down these things going like, wow, okay. So there isn't a definitive answer.
Yeah,
but
like don't,
he jumped a lot and ran when he wasn't jumping. And basically he was just heading, up towards where that Bruce wanted to go, and of course I guess he wanted to go too, which is back home.
Now okay, let's get really ridiculous.
Yeah.
So when you look at this map, you'll realize, well, as you get to the Panama Canal, it really narrows the amount of land.
So that's the question:
right?
Did he jump straight from Colombia?
Or did he go to Ecuador,
or
jump off into the ocean, and just swim his way to Guatemala?
Right?
Like, I don't know, right?
Sure.
Who knows? But bottom line is, huge distance. That, okay, just imagine yourself going to bed in New York City, waking up in London and going, what? Like, what am I doing here? It's outrageous. Right. Yes, it's crazy.
Yeah. So the Hulk has made some serious distance. And once again, now he's like, okay, now I'm in Guatemala and still have no money, no ID,
no shirt.
Nothing, no shirt.
I have nothing.
Exactly, I have no socks. And so he eventually manages to convince this guy. So this person here is actually not a professional actor. He is the head stunt coordinator for Incredible Hulk.
Nice.
He did all the stunt coordination stuff for the Rio scene, so everything they were down there. So this was still shot in Rio, standing in for Guatemala. So this guy actually has done quite a bit. He did stunt work coordination for Apocalypto, which is an unsung classic. That is a very good movie. For Mask of Zorro, and for one of my personal favorite movies, it's Troy.
Oh,
yeah, all shot down in this sort of this area. So is
Mask of Zorro the one with Antonio Banderas and Anthony Hopkins? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And Catherine Zeta-Jones.
That's right.
That's a fun.
It is. Yeah.
That's just a fun movie.
It's a fun movie. Yeah. So when you're not watching Incredible Hulk minute by minute, you go watch it. There's our recommendations for what to watch for in between episodes. So he gets in and he lets Bruce put on a blanket to stay warm, and then as they drive off, we see what he's hauling.
Well, okay, wait. Before we get to the hauling thing, I just want to say,
sure.
This guy, a saint.
Right. What a nice guy. I mean, like, weird white dude.
You're driving with your haul of what we're about to get to, right? You're going through the rainforest or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. You're taking your stuff to town.
Right.
You're taking your crap to town.
Super white guy. Staggers out of the jungle.
Shirtless,
wet,
shoeless,
very feeble. I mean, because again, they're trying to connect you back to the humanity of Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
He's clutching the rags that he is using as pants, and he comes up to you, doesn't know where he is,
doesn't know what language,
language is being spoken, and you just go, "Yeah, come on, get in.
Yeah,
here's a blanket.
Yeah,
I'll take you to the next town."
Yeah, that's good. He's the hero of the movie.
Okay, way to go, everybody!
Yeah, right?
Because I don't think that would happen.
No, I mean, like he'd still be walking if just some skinny white dude walking, clutching his pants with those shoes, like trying to flag down a ride. Oh yeah, good luck, buddy, and just whoosh,
when he's
right on by.
Speaking Portuguese, like,
right?
You just go, that's it.
That's right.
I'm done. You're not. No.
Yeah.
So this is awesome. And when you go and look at this moment, Ed Norton, I mean, this is literally the faces of anguish.
Yeah.
From. Oh God!
Yeah,
I can't believe I'm doing here.
What do you do? I mean, like, you're in a situation. What do you do now?
And okay, the face I want to point to when he is given the blanket, the face he has is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
No, like I'm not trying to like gush on the acting of a moment here in Incredible Hulk, but
yeah.
Okay, it's really heart wrenching.
But at the same time, he is legitimately out in the rainforest, wet, half naked, shoeless. I mean, the actor was. So, as much as this, like, he does a great job of it too, but he probably was suffering.
I want to go back to the Toronto lot. We have to get
As we talked about in the last minute, like, they had a huge torrential rainstorm as they were trying to shoot this scene because it's the rainforest. So they probably had a lot of just sitting around, in half his costume, just waiting for the rain to stop enough for them to be able to film. So as the truck drives away across the bridge, we can see that it's loaded in the back, and it's actually loaded up full of bananas.
Now, I mean, do bananas, are they something important to Guatemala?
They're not green, so I don't know what they're in the movie. But can you tell us a little bit about bananas and
again,
Guatemala?
We talk about this all the time, like the research that goes into when you're making a movie, right? Yeah, Guatemala, bananas are a huge role in the Guatemalan economy. The bananas that are grown, like South Coast, they're basically 90% of them go to places like Dole and Chiquita and Del Monte, like all of the places you are familiar with.
Sure. Yeah, they slap their sticker on.
Yes, those bananas end up here.
That's right.
That is exactly what that vehicle would be carrying on a road inside Guatemala.
Yeah.
That's completely legit. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
awesome.
That's good research on their part. All right. So now, as we're getting to the end of the minute, even though there's not a lot obviously that happens in terms of Bruce gets a ride. And that's basically it. We want to sort of talk about how things are going to change a little bit on the show because we've come to something very interesting, and so we're going to be talking about a new segment that we're going to be doing from time to time, and it's called Meanwhile in the MCU. Because you see, while this is happening, the people, the very, very smart nerds out in there who love the MCU, have figured out what else is going on at the same time. Now we get to the rest of the Hulk stuff was sort of like just generally around, but now from here on out, it actually syncs up to everything that's going on. So right now, Iron Man has just finished testifying, or Tony Stark has just finished testifying in front of Congress. What? So the Iron Man 2 is happening at the same time as the events of Incredible Hulk.
So now we are really in the thick of it.
Yeah, exactly. People have gone through and actually documented day by day what is happening, and because as we're going along, as we get further into the movie, and I'm not saying like in an hour from now, like in terms of movie time, I'm saying in like the next 10 episodes or so, Thor will also start happening at the same time too. All these things are happening at the same time. Chronologically speaking, in the MCU.
So we get to use our Meanwhile in the MCU soundbite.
So
you'll be hearing that again.
You'll be hearing that again. So when we sort of transition to that to talk about what else is going on in the MCU, we have that little soundbite to let you know that's what we're talking about.
Apologies to Stephen Colbert with Meanwhile.
So let's see. Tony just testified for Congress. Fury has now deployed Agent Romanoff to infiltrate Tony's inner circle, so she is on her way to do that at the same time this is going on. So now there'll be some time passing there. So this won't be every episode we won't be checking in because the way that the time is flowing. Whenever something relevant comes up, we'll drop in that little segment just to let you know what else is happening in the MCU.
Outstanding.
So here we are at minute 30.
So where is Bruce? Where's Bruce headed? Where's he going?
Bruce is he's somewhere in Guatemala. Hopefully, someplace
when he gets asked the question,
someplace he can get a shirt. Oh yeah, so the guy asked him like, "Where are you going?" Like strange white man without a shirt.
And the greatest answer: home.
Oh, home.
He's going home.
He's going home.
Wait. Okay, we're in that ends the minute.
He's 3,000 miles closer to home.
Let me tell you how great this is. If you've been listening and you get to this part. Look at where he's been. You saw he was on the run. He was totally paranoid. He had all of his bullies and getting targeted, and his possible father-in-law is after him, and all these things are going on.
Yeah,
he loses it, goes nuts. This minute is all about the return and the reminding of his humanity.
Yeah,
and it culminates with him realizing, I'm not running anymore.
Yeah, right. He's going back to.
I'm going home.
Yeah. Yeah, the determination, and actually, like, how he's going to get there, he doesn't know.
That has to work out, though. I'm sure by this time, General Ross is, he's not big on this anymore. He's probably just like, all right,
he's over it. He's like, I gave it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, let's
something else
come back to the family. Everything's fine.
Well, I guess we'll see in minute 31.
I guess so.
So, come back and join us. See where Bruce ends up as his little South American tour continues. So in the meantime, if you're looking to find us, we are on all the social media things. We are on the Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook. Just look for The Next Reel, and we'll be talking about not only when the next episode of this show will drop, but also of our parent show, The Next Reel, and all the other stuff that we'll be doing. So you can find all that stuff over at MarvelMovieMinute.com. So thank you all for listening. Hope you had a smashing good time. Until next time, true believers.
Bye.